Well, are we on? We on? We live? We live? All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Good evening. Good morning. You may be somewhere it's still morning. I don't know, but welcome, 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 welcome to the plug. The plug, the plug. And y'all know what the plug stands for, right? P.L.U.G, power living under God. As a reminder, that's what that means. That's what that is. I hope everyone has had a great weekend thus far and has had a great Sunday thus far. And as we always do when we start this show, we always start off with what? The prayer. Yes. A prayer, a prayer, a prayer. There we go. That's what our host and our leader, Miss Felicia Williams, does. And she always makes sure we pray before we get started. And that's what we should do with anything. Every day. Pray.
Right?
Period.
Thank you, sis. Yes. Like sis said, welcome you all, because we can't do nothing without God. So here on the plug, we're going to acknowledge that He is who He say He is. And so we're going to open up with a word of prayer. So wherever you are, if you will join us and pray to the King of Kings, the Lord of Lords, and we're going to invite the Holy Spirit to be in the midst of our conversation. So Heavenly Father, we thank you for this glorious day. God, we thank you because there is no God like you. And God, we just come together in this moment within this hour to have a conversation and to see what you say about the matter, but practically, what does it look like in 2025? God, we thank you for this platform. We thank you for BMU. We thank you for those who have tuned in, those who will have the audacity to share it. Because God, we know when something is good, we'll share it. If something is meaningful, add value, we would share it. So God, we thank you for those who would do that. And God, we just thank you that we get to share what it is. How does it look from generation to generation? How we don't look like each other, but you're the God of every generation, and you want us to dwell together in unity. So we are here on the plug to do just that, to hash out and reason together how we can just come together and learn about one another from generation to generation. To God be the glory both now and forever. God, we thank you. We love you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
Yes, yes. Good afternoon. My sister did a warm welcome. We want to do you like in the Baptist church. We welcome you once, we welcome you twice, three times. So you are truly welcome by the time we say that third welcome. If you ain't welcome now, we don't know what else will welcome you. But again, we thank you and we welcome you to this episode. They Not Like Us. This is our part 3.
Mm-hmm.
We've been doing a series on They
Yes.
Like Us, and just want to know, have you ever sat in a room and with people from 5 different generations,
2, 3, 4, 5.
and it make you feel like all y'all speaking different languages? It made me think about the Tower of Babel. They didn't, all of them couldn't understand each other. Uh, have you ever had that ever happen to you, where you just, you know, 5 different generations, or it's the baby boomer, you got a traditionalist. The traditionalist may be just quiet, to the side, or maybe not, depending on who the traditionalist is.
Right.
You got the millennials, you got Gen X and Gen Z and Gen Alpha, and everybody in the same room. Matter of fact, if the truth be told, I just left a room like that.
Mm.
In that room, we're asking, have you been in a room like that? And all of you are speaking different languages. Well, I was trying to talk to another Gen X. There was a millennial watching TV, and there was the Gen Alpha. They were talking to each other, talking and running and playing, and uh, the traditionalists, just, you do know, your body language can be a language without a word. So
Mm-hmm.
I was kind of in that situation, and I tell you, it's difficult because I know, for me being Gen X, I was just trying to say to the Gen Alpha, sit down. I don't even want to hear what you got to say. Now,
No, you didn't.
you know, just depend on what's going on and at the time is going on. But real talk, y'all, the way we communicate has shifted
Yeah.
in every area. How we talk, our language. We know even people who speak different languages, we all share this commonality that it's a challenge to be in the same room with various generations, and the communication is understood.
Mm-hmm.
And we're going to delve into our topic this week. Of course, generally we're talking about They Not Like Us, but today the topic is about language. So we're going to discuss how we can actually bridge the gap. We want to be able to bridge the gap so that we can have what? A healthy relationship. Sometimes it's all in, what are you saying? Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Can you say that again? Uh,
Right.
is this what you meant? Oftentimes we hear language of the different generations and we're not asking questions to what's the meaning, so that we, with all our getting, can get an understanding. And I want you to know, everything we do and everything we come by, we can look at what God thinks about the matter, because you do know, when we talk about language in Proverbs 18 and 21, it says death and life are in the power of the what? Tongue.
Yes.
Those who love it, will eat its fruit. I mean, we say this all the time, life and death is in the power of the tongue. But what is the tongue saying?
Mm.
Are
Mm.
we listening? So today we just want to talk about the language. And so our 3 powerful points today, we're gonna be talking about how our worlds shape our words. How our worlds
Mm.
in which we live in shape our words. We're going to talk about how technology can either divide us or unite us. We want to hear some of your testimonies, because you do know we overcome by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. And the third point, we're going to talk about how storytelling and respect can build a bridge across generations. So let's get into it. Welcome, y'all. Hey, Lost in Translation. Hey,
lit.
so before we get into it and delve into it, we're going to add, sis, Diane has put into the chat our breakdown of the generation so that we'll know our very first week that we did. They're not like us. We broke down so that you can know where you can find yourself. Where do you land?
Mm-hmm.
Generational category. I think that's important. I think that's important because you need to be aware. So when you're engaged at home with your family, even professionally, even spiritually, in the places that maybe where you go to worship, wherever you are gathered or engaged with people, pay attention to the generational categories they fit in, but also where you stand, so that it can help you and I to better understand one another. And now today, the language, what does that even sound like? So let's go. Has anybody ever had the experience of being in one room with the different generations and you realize that there was either miscommunication or either the language was misunderstood, or maybe possibly you all were in, there was a mix of company of the generation and the conversation was of substance?
Mm.
Because it doesn't necessarily have to be depending up on, where each of the persons are or what the conversation might have been.
Mm.
So
I think we all have. I think a number of us have. I mean, at some point in our lives,
yeah,
whether with family, whether with at work, that's a possibility. Maybe not all of the generation, but I would say at least 2 to 3 that you have been in community, you've been in that setting of the generations. And as you stated earlier, they're, with our traditionalists kind of quiet, but based on, that traditionalist characteristics and personality, they may not have been very quiet. And they voice their opinion, but it is interesting to have sat in, I want to say, I know at least I've been in the two with the traditionalists, the baby boomer, and then of course myself, Gen X. So that conversation was eye-opening, because like you said, majority of the millennials, they're, I was going to say quiet because they're on their phone. And so it's
okay.
like you got to draw them in and engage them in the conversation with me and the traditionalists, as well as with a baby boomer, because they, again, on technology with their phones, that's where their engagement is, where baby boomers and traditionalists not so much are on their phones. So that's one big difference I could say that took place, or that was interesting to see, that out of the 4, the one was on their phone. And then myself, of course, had my phone, but not necessarily engaged in the phone. But
Yeah, now hold it, hold
they
it, hold
do
it.
ask a question, or if there's something that's, we're not sure of, then of course I'm grabbing my phone and saying, let me look that up.
Okay.
So,
So let's pause. Let's pause with the example that you gave. First of all, when I put my finger, my little church Baptist finger, I wanted to pause because you may mention that, okay, maybe there was a conversation, you need to look up something. And me being in conversation with you, both of us in the same um, category, being Gen X. Now, you did something. I don't know if you realized it or not. You was talking about the millennials. You said they were on their phones. This is what you did. It's probably because it's the generation you in.
yeah, you're
But
right.
howsoever, we know they are rarely doing this. They are rarely got their phone up to their ear. That
Yeah,
would probably be
or the
traditionally,
Bluetooth.
yes,
You're good.
right. But Think about this. They're communicating while they're communicating,
Yeah.
right? So they can be in the room with one generation. Let's say a traditionalist. They in the room with their grandmother. Grandmother is having a conversation using his or grandfather using their words
Hmm.
while at the same time simultaneously the millennial is having a conversation on their phone
Yeah.
using symbols, emojis, and the traditionalist is having a formal conversation because they're used to having formal conversations. So see the different languages: formal, maybe yes sir, yes ma'am, expecting that maybe from a millennial. Millennial is having a conversation while grandmother, grandfather, or aunt or uncle in that category of being 80 and above. But at the same time, they are having a conversation with their whole friend. It could be one friend, it can be a group of people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Symbols, you know, and I know I'm probably dating myself when I because they don't even use LOL no more, so that's out of them. But you know, they just have letters. We're talking about
Yeah.
language, and that's very foreign
Yeah.
from the traditionalists or the baby boomers because they're used to this face to face. What
Mm.
about this? Traditionalists usually write letters.
Yeah.
Remember?
Yes.
Baby boomers, face to face, traditionalists was used to face to face. Even baby boomers, listen, how many of your, think about this and put this in the chat. How many of your family members still have a landline? All of my aunties have a landline. You better hear me today. They all baby
Wow.
boomers.
Wow.
And just I be trying to say, can you, you know, y'all don't even nobody's calling them on but scam, but they got that landline.
Yes, they do. And a lot of them, I think, oh, because, that's just what they were used to. That's what they grew up with. They didn't grow up with the technology that we have now. So landlines are very pivotal to them or important to them. And I want to say maybe some are still tied to their alarm systems. Um, uh, That's what I want to say, but I'm not 100% because mine is not. So I don't know. Yeah, so a lot of a big variation in the, like you said, in the midst of a room, sitting with those different generations and um, seeing the communication style. And like even to your point, you have witnessed it even going to a restaurant and noticing that a whole family is at a table. Everybody has their cell phone in their hands and nobody's talking to each other. Kids may be texting each other. I'm tired. I want to go home. Why are we here? I don't want to be. I mean, what was the point? They doing that, and the parents probably saying, "These kids look bored. What we gonna do next?" I don't know.
Yeah, all that can be happening in the one and at the same table. But even get this. So then you got that same family has a Gen Alpha. They have their tablet. They're
Yeah,
watching a YouTuber who is a kid talking about something. I mean,
yeah,
they talk and they watch it, but it's language. To certain generations, it's like noise. Because, like, I mean, you know, like because you're not tuned into what they're saying, or you don't understand what they're saying.
uh,
Basically, let's go back to understanding because the preferred communication. Traditionalists prefer
yeah,
face to face.
yeah,
Baby boomers prefer face to face. I
yeah.
remember my mama saying, "Don't text, don't be texting me.
Mm.
You know, call me."
Call
Yeah, don't
me.
text me, call me. But now you can't. Now she's texting, but I call
Right.
because I don't understand what are you saying.
Right. Let's jump over here to these comments.
Okay.
Trey said millennials multitask and process faster. Point. We grew up with the technology from the beginning. True. And then Lost in Translation said at Trey, a rotary phone would confuse the devil out of them.
Fact.
True. Very
I agree
true.
with that.
That, yeah. And then he says, not millennials. We use rotary phones as kids, but Gen Z for sure. Yeah, yeah, Gen Z for
But
sure.
yeah, it depends on which category
But
trades in because millennials, my kids, that rotary phone.
the
Did
rotary,
they have one? I
the
know that my kids didn't have
we didn't
they
have
didn't have that rotary.
no. It was. the push button.
Yeah. No, I'm talking they're rotary. Yeah,
Yeah,
no.
they don't
First of all, take time to put your finger in there to make it
to
dial it
make
down.
it go, and then don't mess up because you got to start all over again.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and then Tracy, I remember the phones where each line lit up with a light.
Yep.
I remember having a to nine to get out.
So the outside
Oh,
line.
just a nine outside. Oh
Some
yeah,
businesses still
wow,
do that.
we
Some
went
businesses
way
still
back
do that.
for
Yeah.
real.
Oh,
Yeah,
y'all taking us back. No,
gee,
Lost said what? The red hold button on the phone.
oh,
Yes.
that is
Now.
crazy. Oh my God,
So
look, I'm
now we're not putting people on hold. We literally mute. Just put them on mute. They don't have to be on hold.
right
Yeah.
for
So
sure.
the way we communicate is so different, and I'm like lost. That would confuse them. First of all, it takes time. It's not because I'm thinking about our finger in the rotary like this. Now I'm thinking about my grandson with his one finger doing this, just touching it, just
Yeah,
touching it,
yeah,
and just go on.
yeah.
And to the point, not even you can speak to the phone and tell the phone who to call. You don't even
Exactly,
have to. You ain't got to
exactly,
memorize the number. You
exactly.
know,
Yeah,
communication is
yeah.
different.
Definitely.
Okay, thank you, Trey. He said he's a millennial for the record. Okay,
Oh, okay, great.
yeah, that helps. So language is very different. So when we think about millennials text, social media, and casual emails. Oh, with them
Hmm.
emails. Now
Yep.
that dang on Gen X, that's us. Emails, some text, but I know for the majority of the emails have y'all, the emails. No, they not like us, and we need to get like them. Because we over in date with emails, and I think it's too much. Like you can read literally like you reading a dissertation in one day after if you read all your emails that have come through. If you don't, actually um, put the structures in your emails to where you actually put the ones that are of importance, the ones that should flag the email to make it come up forward, to
Hmm.
come first.
Yeah.
Okay, what is that? Kids don't dial, they
They
tell the
like you
phone.
just said, they tell the phone to
Yes,
call.
yes.
And then Lit was like, it's them having to remember their friend. That right there, the number, remember somebody number only got two, maybe three numbers I can remember off
Yeah.
the bat. And that's it. Everybody else, is the three key ones. Yeah, and I don't even know all my kids' numbers. That's what's funny because they not even in the three. So
See, no,
that's
that's not,
yeah,
that's real.
that's
And
for
so what
real.
happens, we're talking about language, and
Yeah.
in other words, so we're talking about language, you can't even communicate with anybody in any of the generations. Let us have a whole blackout. I mean, just in the sense of you can't, your phone, let's say for instance, you're not able to tell Siri and nobody to call somebody. You got to dial it out on your, even or not dial it, but I guess we're
Hmm.
gonna say touch or whatever.
Hmm. Touch. I
You
don't know.
don't know, anybody's phone number. What is that gonna look like?
I don't know. He said
And
that.
yeah, Trey, the
Yes.
necessity of memory eroded with technology. No
Yes.
need to memorize anything. So we think we better write some of them down and have them on hand.
Well, let me just show y'all a real old school, good
Yes,
old
this
Rolodex.
is dating
I
us.
beg your pardon.
Again, please, because she done took, yes,
I have a
she still
Rolodex.
have her, my goodness,
Well,
her Rolodex.
business, it was business, and it was like way too many, but good old Rolodex with me right here, y'all.
Trey said you old.
Yes, I received it. Yes.
I was just like, I
Oh,
received
but
that.
like Liz said, I bet I can find a number for you with who you want to call.
Why? Why?
Why? Just why? Why? Somebody ask why one more time. Why? So I have a question. Let's discuss for a moment how language, tone, and preferred communication channels, though those of which we've just discussed, how can they cause misunderstanding? How can preferred language,
Mm-hmm.
preferred modes of communication cause misunderstanding? And like I said, I'll share. Like in the beginning when we started all of the texting, my mom was notorious to say, "Don't text me." Her and her friends, I could hear them talking. Don't be sending no text. Call me. Like if grandkids want something, it made a difference if I text you or if I call you. I'm still
Yeah.
asking the same question. However, if I'm using, the LO, oh my God, talk to you later, the TYL, of
Yeah.
course,
TTY. Yeah.
yeah, of course, she didn't understand. But so we were talking about how can those cause misunderstanding? Sometimes I believe, like an example I'm giving, the message is not clearly conveyed or understood.
Yeah.
Versus I pick up the phone and say, "Mom, can you pick up the grandboys today? I got a meeting." If
Mm-hmm.
I text that, and this has happened somewhere, lost in translation, it get lost in translation,
Mm-hmm.
literally.
Mm-hmm.
Has that ever happened to any of you where you say one thing in a text, and I know even sis and I sometimes, because even we're in the same, but the text, the preferred mode of communication from one person to another,
Mm-hmm.
sometimes can cause a misunderstanding because of the message that's trying to be delivered. What y'all say about that?
Well, let
Trey
me
say yes.
I say through texting you can't determine someone's tone, fact. So it's subjective, which oftentimes confuses people. Very, very true.
Yeah.
Very true. Your tone cannot be distinguished on a text.
Okay, time out.
Oh,
Okay. Y'all say the tone can't be distinguished, but I'm guilty of this. Like when you text me and I read it, I hear your voice.
oh, okay.
The relationship that I'm in with
I'm gonna,
you,
yeah, in
I literally,
relationships.
whatever you text me, I literally can like be like, I can hear you saying this. Is it because I've been in communication with you face to face? But
Hmm.
like Trey is saying, I don't know the tone because I don't hear the tone in that moment in what you just wrote. So
Yeah.
what you just the message just sent. So I thought,
Un, yeah.
go ahead.
I was gonna say unless like one of our other good friends, she was saying she's not a great texter. She rather verbally talk and communicate with her kids one time, and it was all capital letters. And so they immediately called and said, "Mom, why are you yelling?" And she was like, "What are you talking about? I'm not yelling." And it was like, "Well, you have everything in capital letters." And they was like, "Oh my God." She was like, "Y'all know I'm not a big texter, so I'm not yelling." But that's how it came off to them that she was yelling because she accidentally or whatever, however the phone ended up doing, made it all caps. So that's another.
No, that's a huge one because even with a baby boomer, mama, she put something in our text, I mean our caps last week. And my daughter, how she interpreted it, because it was all caps. But it lent me an opportunity to have a conversation with mom to say, well, this is how that's perceived. Not that
Hmm.
that's how you said it. You were
Hmm.
not screaming. But to this generation, it's like, you, and mom kept saying, well, I don't know. Kind of like what Trey said, you can't determine somebody's tone. And I said, I get it. So here I am, the Gen X between, I guess she millennial. Anyway, millennial and baby boomer, bridging the gap of communication, but then how it ended up, they had a conversation.
Hmm.
so that the misunderstanding could be clear. But what happened, it was just what we're talking about. It came through a text.
Mm-hmm.
And the way we read information can help cause misunderstandings. And I think somewhere Trey is alluding to relationship, to relational, because he said he will be misunderstood and we will be misunderstood and confused by his tone and verbiage. Yeah, because if you're not in relationship with somebody,
Yeah.
and he said his sarcasm, and I think because but I think it's tied to the relationship too, because
Yeah.
they, yeah, we
Very much
use
so.
it, yeah. Um, I think we missed something that Lost in Translation said up there earlier. I can't
Oh,
remember.
he got slang does not translate well to other languages. He was trying to be funny translating while talking to a Portuguese woman, and it came off
Oh my
all
God.
bad in translation. He had to apologize.
Yes. Now
No,
that, now
that, yeah.
that's a whole nother slang. Cause now which one of the generations do you think least understands slang? The traditionalists. Why?
Yeah.
Because their preferred communication is formal language. Because think about how they were raised and the environment in which the thing culturally things that were going on during that time too. The whole yes ma'am, yes sir.
Yeah.
And even today, um, the yes ma'am, yes sir, there are people in different generations who still prefer, even with Gen X,
Uh-huh.
not to be called by their first names. Well, I've shifted in the times because trying to understand other generations beneath me in
Mm-hmm.
language, understanding that them saying yes or calling me Miss Felicia versus Miss Williams,
Mm-hmm.
or saying yes instead of yes ma'am, does not determine whether or not their level of respect.
Mm.
Language.
Yeah.
And this kind of,
Yeah.
we kind of recapped and talked about that in one of our other episodes. And that kind of comes up in every one of the topics, the word respect, because it can cross over, you know,
Yeah. That's true.
relational language.
Yeah. Because, like you said, respect. Yes, ma'am. No, ma'am. Or, like you said, Miss Felicia, Miss Diane. Trey said, yeah,
I
I
can't.
told a Brazilian woman she had some fatty. She thought I was calling her fat.
You see, it's the language. Please use the appropriate language for the appropriate, not just the generation. Maybe the the nationality or culture in which you are talking to people. What does he say? Millennials were born at the right time. We
We
got
got
everything
everything
past.
past and future.
Uh-huh.
Millennials weren't, oh, everything past and future. Okay. Then let's say, I'm trying to brush up on my Portuguese for that very reason.
Good for you. Good for
Please
you,
do.
Lit. Good
Please
for
do.
you.
Please do. Please.
So what's the suggestion then if we realize that there are misunderstandings? Well, we just got one real live one. So when Lit found that there was a problem, there was a breakdown in communication, misunderstanding, he's gonna brush up on his
Portuguese.
Portuguese.
Yes.
Okay, so what if it's the same language and you misunderstood?
Mm.
Let's do, we good for going parent to child. Parent to child doesn't necessarily have to be Gen X to millennials or Gen Alphas or Gen Zs. It could be, what about baby boomer to Gen X, or baby boomer to Gen Z?
Mm.
How does one go about um, solving the problem of being misunderstood, where there's a language barrier in the sense of misunderstanding, not language like speaking a different language, like in Lit's scenario. Oh, lost in translation, he said use proper language, use proper English, Okay, I got a question. Can we use proper English and still be misunderstood from generation to generation?
Hmm. Uh,
I say yes because
because again, they learned it different.
I was finna say because proper English ain't proper no more.
Yeah, they just learned it differently. He said, just be clever about your explanation. Use something they can identify with. My mom is a boomer and my kids are Gen X and the Gen Alphas. Just have to find the medium. Yeah.
So who should find the medium? Should it be the older generation, or should we take or should the whoever has the capacity to do so take the lead? Who finds the medium?
Well,
Trey.
I would say if I'm the one that's talking and speaking and they don't understand that I'm the one that's going to have to do it. Whoever I would think that's leading the conversation needs to try to find a medium to make sure that it's well understood. There's an understanding and not a miscommunication, which is the whole problem. It's a miscommunication. So
Right.
um, get my thought across, then yeah, we need to, that person, whoever's leading, needs to take the time to find the medium to get the point across.
So I'm gonna give you a scenario. So this helps me. The person takes, like you said, both of y'all, the person explaining it takes the lead. Okay, here's an example. Here's a miscommunication. Somebody says, "Why didn't you text me?" No, somebody says, "Why didn't you call me back?" And somebody says, "I text you." Why didn't you see? This is happening. Why didn't you call me back? I text you. Think about it.
Yes.
Think. Let's slow it down. Think about
Yeah.
it.
Why didn't you
Here's
text
somebody
me
saying,
back?
"Why
I
didn't
called you.
yes, why didn't you call me back?" And you say, like me saying, "Sis, why you didn't call me back?" And you said, "I text you."
Yeah, yeah,
They
and
mean the same thing?
that happens. That does. That really does happen. A lot,
It does.
a lot,
And
a lot.
it happens a lot. And you know what we don't do? We don't give grace for
Yeah.
the technology errors.
Oh my God. That
Instead,
is
we jump
to the conclusion
stupid.
that they,
I'm gonna
yeah,
say stupid. We jump stupid to start blaming or accusing people for not contacting us.
yeah, yeah. Instead of opening your mouth or asking, okay, so when did you send it or did you
Yes,
call me? Did you text me? Because my phone, because we already know between me and you, Android and iPhones is a battle. It's always a battle between our phones communicating with each other via text, that is. And sometimes with calls, because I can say I called you or you say you called me and I don't even see anything come up on my phone, a missed call or anything. And that in itself happens a whole lot where our phones just don't connect. If you're driving, I'm driving, I'm in a building or whatever, and I'll come out the building. And that happens a whole lot. Come out of the building and I done missed 3, 4 calls. And it's like, what? Or even just driving through the neighborhood or something, and I done missed a call. And it's like, when did this happen? And I know you for a fact. You'll be like, you called me. I'll be like, yep. And you're like, I didn't even hear anything, nothing, my phone didn't ring or anything. So that happens quite a bit. But the word you said earlier was give each other grace.
yes,
Grace, grace. If you know you call someone, if you know you text someone, whether they got an iPhone, a Droid, or whatever, follow up. Just follow up.
yeah.
Say,
No,
hey,
that's true. I'm bad at. I know. Yeah, follow up. We should follow up because it happens every day to the best of us, and so it really is not so much the generation as it is being intentional about communicating what needs to be communicated.
yeah. Uh,
Yeah, he's my yes, Lord, Felicia be seeing me call and just hit.
what?
No, no, no. He talking about yes. When I said I'm bad, he talking about yes. I be seeing him and hit. he's- I hit ignore. That is not. But here, that is what people do. That's another whole language.
Another thing, whole nother thing. Yeah.
Yeah. My phone doesn't ring after a certain time due to do not disturb settings. Yes, and I'm gonna tell you who hate that. My kids hate the DN. They hate it. Why you got this phone on do not disturb? Well, the language is do not disturb. So I'm with Lit, but they don't like that. Uh they don't. It's mostly people that I know, Gen X, would put their phones on do not disturb.
Yeah. Yeah.
And exactly. It is Trey. I learned that the hard way because though my daughter, she hated, but then she called the second time they can get through. You are so right. I was like, what? What's the point? I just learned that, Trey. You're right. So what's the point? Because I said, oh, see, this is not working like I needed to work. But again, and then sometimes that happens. I just forget to turn it off.
Yeah, she does a
I
lot.
forget to turn it off. I have it on through the night because I'm a light sleeper. That's another reason. I don't
Mm.
want the phone ringing like we had back in the day. The phone ring, everybody waking up. It's ringing. And then you know what happens is ringing in the middle of the night. You think something is what? Wrong. Oh, but
Right.
not now. They calling like it's just 2 o'clock in the evening. Just to
Yeah.
say nothing.
Yeah. Yeah. Just turn it off. That's all I can say. If that's the case, just turn it completely off.
So that is so
All the way.
yeah. So we realize that language has shaped, our world. It shapes our world in the words in which we speak. And we also understand how technology, it can either unite us or divide us.
Mm-hmm.
Based on what you and Trey both shared, that it really takes the person who's leading the conversation to redirect it or get an understanding or to reason. The last thing I want to hit on, it I believe it is tied to language and communication because it's about storytelling. So I do have a real live example of, but my son just came home from Houston this weekend, and he got a chance to sit down with his grandmother, which is my mom, who is a baby boomer, and they had a conversation. And my mom was sharing how she just really enjoyed that conversation, and but the storytelling was actually him. They were both talking. I think my mom asked him a question. I wasn't there. She retold the story. She asked my son, did he like music? And he was like, yeah, Nana, I love music. And he reflected on his childhood by saying, I remember when my mom would take me to my brother's, which is his older brother, his shows, because he used to be in, theater. And Alex hated it. He did not want to go, but I made him go. So now he's reflecting on that discipline as a parent, not giving him, this is Trey's favorite, not giving him a choice in the matter. He had to go, but now his appreciation for music, he sees that the experience came from the parenting piece, and now he's sitting on a couch talking to his grandmother. They have the language. She asked a question, and then they go back down memory lane. The storytelling, I think, is important to our community, to our families, because it helps to build healthy relationships, I believe. So, talk to me about or share how storytelling amongst the different generations, how it can be a sense where there is a healthy line of communication there. And we
Yeah.
want to stay on the healthy side. I say that because the plug has a 3-to-1 rule. Give me 3 things that's working versus the one thing that we need to attack or
Yes.
approach
No. Yeah.
challenge. Yeah. So if you all could share something regarding um, storytelling, either your own personal testimony, how storytelling has shaped your life, as it we still that's language because somebody is telling you a story. You have to comprehend what they're saying.
Mm-hmm. Make and I could go back to back at the when you were saying when we were talking about who would take control over leading um, to help understand what you're saying. um, that would go back into that storytelling piece because, of course, I want to say the Gen X, Gen Z's probably will ask a lot of questions, possibly about what do you mean? And let's say the rotary phone. Back in the day, we always kind of like start out, well, back in the day when I was young, I used to X, Y, and Z, or, I used to have to walk to school. And, you always, and that's a well-known story that people always tell is I used to have to walk to school. And y'all complain about having to walk just to the mailbox and back, um, but storytelling helps with understanding, just depending on, if you're a family reunion or something, understanding the history of the family, understanding, why great grandmama, granddaddy did what they did, or how they, operated back then. Just everything, like you're saying, just everything about your life, what helps you understand who you are, um,
Yeah.
what makes you tick, what makes you walk, talk, all the things. Um, those stories help. Again, from my family, learning who I am, who from my father's side, learning, the things about the Hall family, so um, helping me think and understand all the things that I've done, all the things I may have said, anything. So storytelling is key. Um, I think, and in some form or fashion, you're going to tell a story some kind of way. And whether they got in trouble, you're gonna get a story behind, why you shouldn't do it, or how to advance financially. You're gonna get a story. So all aspects of our lives, storytelling is key.
I love that. Storytelling is key, and how you brought up in your recent family reunion, and we are forever learning. Even if you go to family reunions, if you sit and listen, I think that's the key. I think Lost is sharing about storytelling teaches you to listen intently. It does, because you don't know the story, so you have to hear the story.
Yeah.
And today we do a lot of interruptions, but storytelling um, is so vital. So it's so vital to our identity. And what about this? I'm sure. Let's do it. What are some words in your family, or some cliches, something that your family says? See, it's language.
Mm-hmm.
Um, the word mess in my family would say, not you a hot mess. I mean, it's something that's in because they country now. If you don't sit your mess and rump down, that's just basically saying if you don't sit your behind down somewhere, and it could be another way to say it. You may use profanity and say it, but it notice you can say it a different way. But the Langfords, you're gonna hear them always say mess.
Mm.
Miss so and so, you ought to done no country, but language. I may not hear that in your family. There are words, there are sayings
Mm.
um, that you can pick up. Going back to what we just talked about, if you listen intensively, the family has a language of its own. And culturally, we have a language of our own where we're often misunderstood because
Mm.
it's not appreciated or accepted in the formal world, in meaning like in education.
Mm.
If I'm in a classroom, a little boy they can say, "Oh girl, Miss Williams, cut off that light." I know what that means. Another teacher from another world, so to speak, may not understand what cut off means.
Hey,
Turn off and cut off are the
yeah.
same to me, because that same language was used in my family. But just because someone looks like you, let's say if it's their skin color is the same as yours, but they're not from, that's another conversation for another day. But I'm just saying how we can um, assume that language is understood across generations, and in different locations, like formally from your family. This just happened at a school. Give you another example. On the announcements, the principal made a little joke about, college football and started. So they rivalry. That's people that's in the football. There's a language. She done got on there and talked about her team. And so it sounds like they're beefing. That's a whole language. Fighting, for those of you who may be tuned in who don't even know what that means. Going back to Lost in Translation, talking about slang. Well, there was a lady who came forward, who was in the building, thought something was wrong because the tone, and she said, what was the announcement? Is something going on? Language. Formal. We're in an institution, education institution, let's call it that. Formal language. But do you see how children can be misunderstood depending on where they are, who's educating them, or who's caring for them? If there's a teacher who's not empathetic of language. And I will go on there to say this. I believe the language that's often spoke in sometimes African American homes is not appreciated. We even sometimes ourselves downplay it. But if that's what all a family heard growing up, do we charge children for the language that they were taught after we place them in a formal institution? What we need to do is what? Teach them. Let me go over here. I got a lot of comments. I'll let you. So I just wanted to share that because that just happened, literally.
Wow.
But like I said about families, can you think of something in your family that you say? And every family does. And then your friend at your family gathering or at your house and everybody kicking and caca and laughing. And I'm sitting over there like, okay. What does that mean? Until you get engrafted into the family, until you be around them a while.
That's true. That's very true. I mean, to your point, what I was saying, yeah, that coming into relationship with you and your family is like, oh, okay, this is what they do. This is what they say. And you can't be offended because you don't understand until you get the understanding, then it's all good. So, very true. Relationship is key. Trey had said, found out a lot about my family through storytelling at Christmas. Christmas is lit with the stories from my G-Ma and great aunts. That's true. D. Bryan says, when you're telling a Gen Z or a Gen X about how different times are, especially when it comes to going outside and getting a switch, they don't understand that language. Oh, but they'll feel it.
Yeah, I did it. I did that with the going outside, and he did not. I said, he told me, I want to go get it. No, you finna get it. You want to go with me. You think we finna go play with? No, we going. You finna get it. See, that's the language. He said, I want to go with you, Gigi, to get it. No, you gonna get it. You ain't got to go with me to get it. I'm going to get it so I can get you. But that's true.
That's very true. Then Liz said in Louisiana and the Delta in Mississippi, they paint their porches a certain color, blur called haunt, H-A-I-N.
Is that haunt or
haunt? Haunt blue.
Let me do it like this.
Paint
blue.
Paint
blue. So like paint.
If you're not from that area and culture, you have no idea what they are talking about.
Don't. Today, right now.
Still don't.
Still don't.
My family doesn't say jinx when two people say the same thing at the same time. We say somebody coming.
Oh no! And see, if I was at Trey's family gathering and they bust out and say somebody coming, I would say, who?
Who?
Who coming? When they coming? And then,
oh Lord.
I would.
Yeah.
This is what happens.
Yeah.
Literally.
For real.
So now, if we break that down, y'all, and I think Trey was saying this earlier. If we break this down into relationships, do you see why you have to take time to understand people's language?
Yes. And that's even like you said, amongst your own people.
Yes,
Because it's changing, forever
it's
changing,
forever
constantly
changing, and
changing.
you like what?
What?
I'm
Because
not. I
these
don't
kids,
understand.
yeah,
I'm
come
good
with
to
so much.
say. I'm good to be like. I don't understand what
I
you're
don't know
saying.
what you're saying.
Just say that again, or
Mhm.
help me understand. I
Yes.
don't.
Yes. Especially with the younger ones. I'm like, they be doing and saying this, all this, and
Oh, clock, baby. When this little three,
like,
she was for clock that. I said what?
I was like,
Because
huh?
my dog clock. I'm thinking about a clock. See, and
I'm
see,
like, yeah, what
clock.
time
You
is
can
it?
clock that, Miss Williams. She ain't number 4. You can
Uh-uh.
clock, spell the clock, and then you can tell me to clock it. If you can't spell it, baby, don't even come this way. That's what Miss Williams say. What Lawson? What Lawson say?
That's why I say for people from different
Uh,
regions have a hard time in relationships because of cultures. Very true.
I think I believe that, but I believe if they took the time to learn, of course, you can't learn it all in,
Mm-mm.
you ain't gonna ever know all the things. You got to learn them as you go and grow. But if you be intentional with taking time because you want to be in that relationship, then
Yeah,
you would, you know,
you're gonna
do
take
your due diligence to learn what the languages
yes.
are. And then with the different experiences, because that family thing, that go, baby. Your
That's
family, you be wanting to do this. You want to school people before they come to your family. You want to like give them a test, like a pre-test, give them some cliff notes. Listen, when Aunt Betty say
disclaimer.
this, when Uncle Joe say this, then he mean. But then sometimes you be like, they just going to go. They're going to just come on in here.
Yeah, just go head first. Let's go. Trey
Uh,
said, yeah, my daughter said that's T. That's
see,
T.
try
That's T.
clock that. So it's like, what was it saying? What was it saying the last time? Remember when Kermit the Frog was drinking the tea? Um,
Kermit. Yeah. Oh yeah, because Kermit would put have it and he'd be like,
see, what is it? The tea? I'm just gonna sip. I don't know, something like that.
it's like I ain't gonna say a word. Like you ain't hear it from me. That was what I think that's what that meant when
No,
he
no, no. There was another version. I think this one was like Trey's daughter was saying. See, now the clock that's the tea, which is
oh,
like I
that's
need
the
a
new
word for what
news.
does it mean because I
That's the
know
news. That's the
the
truth.
news.
That's
That's
the
the
news.
news. The gossip
The
news.
gossip for the
News,
day.
I guess.
That's all I could come up
That
with.
lost in translation said that's the open book exam. That's what you need.
Yes, we will have to have an open book exam. Yes,
And
yes,
then we need to not have these expectations that people should know what we're talking about. Because
yeah,
that's in your family.
right.
They, because we good to be like, you don't know what that is? No, because that's not normal. That's normal with you and your family. That's not worldwide. That's not, it ain't Bible.
Of course, I had to Google that. You know, I did.
Okay, good.
That's the T is a slang expression that's online with youth culture, meaning that's the truth. So we were in the right vein. That's the
Okay.
truth. That's the real story, especially in the context of gossip or juicy information.
But look, see, like, so Trey's daughter, because we know she's young. So Trey's a millennial. So your daughter is Gen Alpha. He said she was complimenting him.
Oh,
He just shook his head. See, he shook his head in disbelief. Why? Because that language, he didn't understand it. But it
right.
was a good thing.
Well,
She's
it
Gen
turned out
Alpha,
to be a
yeah.
good thing. Yeah.
But look, she's Gen Alpha. She's complimenting her dad. First of all, let's start there. Let me shout out to her. She complimented her dad and in her language, and her dad shaking his head like, what? So we walk away with, you didn't understand it. She'll school you, and it's a good thing because she complimented you. What does Lost in Translation say?
Oh, she's Gen Alpha. Okay, complimenting. She. We don't talk about degrees over here because everyone has has one, it won't impress anyone. Can you cook is what they are looking for. They need help on in this kitchen.
What is it?
Yeah, yeah, true, true. They don't, yeah. Well, they can ask Siri, Alexa, and all of them how to do a recipe.
Oh, okay. Okay, Trey. Trey said he was clarifying. He understood. He just shook his head. I'm grateful that
Oh,
she was complimentary because this generation, listen,
I
compliment
have
is
no idea.
compliment. I got to do a whole show on compliment versus entitlement, with kids. So I'm just grateful that she was able to see there was something to be complimentary, and she did it in her language. Well, y'all, I appreciate you. We have come to a close, and I just want to thank each of you. You've heard it today on our show that every generation has its own rhythm, its own language rhythm, its own way of being heard. And
Mhm.
yes, sometimes that feels like they not like us. But the truth is, when we slow down and we listen, I mean, really listen
Yeah.
and respect the value of each other, each generation, we will realize that we're not as different as we think.
Mm.
So the next time you talk to someone from another generation, instead of thinking they not like us, try leaning in very closely. Lean in with curiosity. You just might find a connection that makes you and them stronger together. Thank you all for joining me today on the Plug Power Living with God. Until next time, keep bridging the gap because you and I can. I love you and I appreciate each and every one of you. Make sure if you would like to donate, do that at dollar sign D Felicia Williams. And if you like it, if something we said add value, you want to share, please share, share, share. Because caring is sharing. Until next time, I am Felicia Williams and I am out. Thank you. Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.